be diverse and therefore different, and sometimes of different quality as well. In the life of the same writer or the same scholar, certain books will be of a higher standard than certain other books. It's only a natural process because we are also human beings, ultimately dealing in a human world with various limitations.
One final question before I open it up to you. I've heard people call you a popular historian. Does that rankle you?
Not
because
really.
What is this popular historian and historian?
I think the idea of popular history, this is again a Western kind of jargon that we've imported, where the idea of a popular historian is somebody who writes for the larger audience, whereas the serious historian, the academic historian, writes basically for other scholars, for peers, right? So, you get the sense of it. So when I did my PhD thesis, I didn't invest very much in language in that because I could use the jargon because I knew the people who were going to read the dissertation were part of the same world. So I could use a certain kind of vocabulary without any stress there because I knew who was going to read it. But when I'm writing for a much bigger audience, the kind of, your brain works in a different way because you're trying to make complex ideas accessible. You're not making it simplistic, but you are making it simpler. There's a difference between simple and simplistic. And you're sort of, trying to sort of walk that tightrope. So I think that's the difference. It doesn't rankle me at a level of ego or anything. I have a PhD. My books have been endorsed by some of the biggest historians in the field, who are all academic historians, because I think a lot of them are older historians, and I think they also recognize in today's world the need for accessible history. In the West, scholars have bridged this gap long ago. One example that I typically give is Mary Beard. She teaches at a university, a top 10 university in the world. She's an accredited scholar. But at the same time, she regularly publishes for a popular audience because she doesn't want to keep that purely in the seminar circuit. She wants the research she does to go out into the world and be part of a broader conversation. So I think, it's a thing. People sometimes have ego issues around it, and it's like a competition of sorts. But again, who cares?
What was your PhD topic on?
It was Tiruvamkur again. So my book was about 20th century for most part. Setu Lakshmibai, Setu Bharati, by that period. This was a century before. It's when the East India companies just come in and the sort of consequences with power structures here in Travancore state at that time. There's a deity, there's a succession thing, there are political institutions here, there's the temple, and there's the East India Company, which has its own political motivations, and how these sort of clash and then reshape the way the Travancore state evolves after that.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that there are questions from the audience. Shall we take a few?